In a world filled with noise, silence might just be the missing piece of your happiness. What if I told you that silence holds the key to unlocking a sense of peace in your life that you've maybe even been desperate for, even if you don't quite realize it? Today we're going to go over how to capitalize the power of silence in your life so that way you can experience more peace and ease. And this will directly elevate your feminine energy level and help you get to that peaceful place of ease in your life. In this video, I'm going to share lots of practical tips and examples where keeping silent will have a big and positive impact on your life and your well-being. Hello and welcome. I'm Amanda, a busy full-time working mom, and I teach women like you how to thrive in your feminine energy despite all the masculine demands of your life, because I get it. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a powerful tool for finding inner peace and clarity in a very chaotic world. And by silence, I don't just mean literally not speaking, but also knowing when to keep certain details and thoughts to yourself for your own benefit and peace of mind. By embracing moments of silence and knowing when to keep your thoughts to yourself, you can quiet the constant chatter of your mind, allowing space for introspection and self-discovery, and protect your own peace by keeping out of conversations that do not serve you. You know what I mean. Or by keeping details to yourself about your life so as to not invite any outside chatter or influence in your life that does not serve you either. And in a relationship, silence can foster deeper connection and enhance communication. The power of silence can simply look like listening more than you speak. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. By listening more attentively and speaking less impulsively, we create space for understanding and empathy, whether that be with your friends, your partner, your family, colleagues at work. Practicing the art of silence can lead to more meaningful interactions and stronger bonds. But the biggest thing I want to get across in this video is how the power of silence can contribute to your personal peace. And as you can probably imagine, feminine energy is stifled by stress and flourishes in a state of peace, which is why this is so important. It's such an important topic. Remaining silent can be challenging, especially in situations where we feel compelled to speak up and defend ourselves. Whether facing criticism, confrontation, or gossip, staying silent requires discipline and self-control, much like anything else in our life that really benefits us. But we have to exercise that muscle of staying silent when it benefits us, because silence plays a crucial role in personal growth and maturity by allowing us to reflect on our thoughts and emotions without external distractions. It provides an opportunity for introspection and self-awareness, leading to greater clarity and insight. The concept of silence as a powerful tool lies in its ability to convey strength, wisdom, and composure. And in moments of conflict or tension, choosing to remain silent can speak volumes and diffuse volatile situations. Silence can disarm energy vampires and narcissists by depriving them of the attention and reactions that they seek. By refusing to engage in their drama or manipulation, we reclaim our power and protect our emotional well-being. It can also be a really attractive quality in a romantic relationship for 2 big reasons. Number 1, having an air of mystery about you is sexy and alluring, and that goes for the guy you just started talking to or the man that you've been married for 10 years to. It applies in all. In a relationship, this can also mean really leaning into your feminine energy, which we love, by leaning back and letting your masculine partner lead. Because again, when we talk about silence, it doesn't exactly mean just literally not saying words. In this case, it means listening and allowing yourself to be freely led, or it can mean not sharing every single thought and opinion that you have with him, especially as it relates to his own problems. The masculine partner respects his feminine partner and values her opinion, but by not automatically divulging how you think he should handle a situation when you're not asked, you're helping to support the relationship and the polarity between your feminine energy and his masculine energy. I talk a lot more about that in this video here. Where I see honoring silence most beneficial is as it relates to negativity and negative people, because silence deprives negative people of their energy source by refusing to participate in toxic dynamics or drama. Instead of feeding into their negativity, silence redirects our focus inward, where we can cultivate positivity and resilience. We can't control everything, but we can control ourselves, and even as it relates to others and how we communicate with others. Say you have a particularly negative family member. This doesn't mean that you have to cut off communication completely, but it could look like you subtly steering the conversation away from negativity and into positivity. I have one person in my life who I don't even start a conversation with, "How are you?" because I know the response will be negative no matter what. Doesn't matter what beautiful things are going on in their life on that day. So instead, I always start conversations with this person by talking about all the awesome things going on in my life. And if this is something you can relate to, you can use that tip. I find it works wonders, but you can also do these things as well. You can ask them specifically about things in their life that you know are going well, or when they inevitably turn the conversation into something negative, you can acknowledge their experience and show your support briefly, but don't really engage too much and let the conversation stay there. You want to steer or change the conversation to something more positive. Or you can just opt out of conversations that just drain you. If there is a particularly negative conversation that you can't turn around, you can simply make an excuse and get off the phone. That might sound like terrible advice, but if you have someone like this in your life, you know that sometimes that's just what needs to happen to protect your own peace, and that is important, and you need to honor it. And as far as people who are just flat out toxic, silence can be extremely effective in deterring toxic people and energy drainers without you doing anything, by just denying them the reaction and attention that they're after. By refusing to engage in their negative energy, we starve them of that validation and the power that they crave, ultimately preserving our own peace of mind and well-being. And it will train them quickly that we are not a person or a place that they can come to dump that toxicity on, and so it will naturally stop. And I want to make it clear that's not the same as like not being a supportive friend or not being a good daughter or whatever. It's just about protecting your own peace, and that is more than, I was going to say just as important, but it's actually more than important than protecting anyone else's. Your job is to take care of yourself above all else. And if you're in a conversation that's draining you or just sucking the life out of you and making you feel stressed out and anxious, you reserve the right to get out of that conversation. And you can still be supportive in your own way and know when enough is enough for your own self, and it's okay that you prioritize that. Now let's talk about the power of silence as it relates to your successes and your battles. Using silence to let results speak for themselves is really empowering, as it shifts the focus from empty words to tangible actions. By allowing our achievements and our contributions to speak on our behalf, we demonstrate confidence and competence. And this can look like not talking about every single thing that you're working on or in the middle of or just starting or still figuring out. You don't need to tell everyone about the new diet that you're on. You can just accept the compliments that come in 3 months from now. Or you don't have to talk about how you're on a journey to healing your wounded feminine energy. You can just let people say, "I don't know what it is, but there's just something different about you." Or no one needs to know that you've started working on a business or a side project or a side hustle while you're in the thick of figuring out. You can answer questions that they have about it when you're on the other side and you've quit your job and they see the success. Because when you're in the middle of any sort of transition, you're in a pretty vulnerable place. And the last thing that you need is outsiders' opinions or expectations to derail you. Even if they're well-intentioned, they're almost always actually pretty unhelpful. So instead, turn inward and trust yourself. You know what's good for you, and you don't need the validation of anyone else, because the feminine woman relies on her own intuition and trusts it above all else. Now, if you want to share with a very select few or a person that you know has your back and trusts you and trusts that you know what's best for you, then by all means. But the point is to not put your journey on display for everyone to comment on. They will see the results when the time comes. So staying silent in the face of negativity and disrespect is essential for preserving our dignity and self-respect. And it can be really difficult and fickle because, of course, being a woman in her feminine energy is not about being a passive doormat that allows for disrespect. It means the very exact opposite, actually. She knows her worth and she accepts no treatment below that. But it's a reminder that not every battle needs to be fought with words, and sometimes our silence speaks louder than any response. And this is kind of hard to talk about in any sort of absolute matter because the spectrum is vast. But the point that I want to make is to not react to every single time or every single person that disrespects you, and to instead encourage you to really think critically. As an example, there is someone in my life who I've always butted heads with, and to be honest, they can be pretty disrespectful, but they're not a person that I can avoid. And I used to get into battles with this person every time they showed me disrespect, because how dare they, right? I know my worth and I deserve to be treated differently and I have to let them know, right? But you know what? That really did more harm than good to me. So now I choose to pick my battles, because some people will just never change or never see your perspective, and sometimes those people are not ones that you can avoid. So when I let go of my need to be respected by them and instead chose to honor my own peace, I was surprised at how much satisfaction I got out of being silent. And it's so true. Silence is loud. You're not choosing to not engage in confrontation because it's not important or because you're letting them off the hook, but rather because it is more beneficial to you to choose your own peace over having the same argument for the 100th time. It's about you and your peace and your energy and protecting it at all costs. It's not for them, and honestly, your silence will send a very powerful message. Maintaining self-respect and boundaries through silence signifies a deep understanding of your worth, and by choosing silence in situations that compromise our dignity or violate our boundaries, we assert our self-respect and demonstrate that certain behaviors are unacceptable. Do not underestimate the power of silence, because in situations like these, it can say more than our words ever could. But let's move on to the fact that how we communicate with others has a huge impact on our energy. When you focus on building yourself up rather than engaging in negative interactions, it reinforces the idea that your energy is better spent on personal growth rather than draining arguments or conflicts. And it goes back to the value of your self-worth and the importance of surrounding yourself with positive energy, because it really shows the power of silence in creating a supportive and uplifting environment that's conducive to personal development and happiness, because you choose how you communicate. And while you can't control what other people do or say, you do choose what you allow or what conversations you participate in. So let's get into some practical tips here. Here's some ways that you can practice silence in quiet moments of self-discovery and introspection, which will ultimately empower you to navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. So the first is to start a reflective journaling practice where you spend a few minutes each day writing down your thoughts and feelings and your goals. Because by regularly reflecting on your experiences, you can gain clarity, perspective, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Next is to incorporate mindfulness meditation into your daily routine. And I know this might sound a little woo-woo, but it really is a great one, because it will allow you to cultivate inner peace and reduce stress and strengthen your mental resilience, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without judgment, by allowing you to develop a sense of calm and self-awareness. If you haven't tried it, just give it a try and see what you think. Next is so important. Advocate for setting boundaries with negative influences in your life. Recognize when certain relationships or situations drain your energy and assertively communicate your needs or distance yourself when necessary. Because when you prioritize your own well-being and surround yourself with positive influences, you can foster a much more supportive environment. And then lastly, this one's my favorite, but try going on solo adventures or do activities that allow you to connect with yourself in silence. And you get bonus points if you do this in nature. Whether that's going for a walk in the park, hiking in the mountains, or just spending some quiet time alone, these moments of solitude can do wonders for self-reflection and your sense of inner peace. Don't underestimate it. Many people mistakenly think that silence is a sign of weakness, but as we mature and reflect, we realize that is actually a significant sign of power, strength, wisdom, confidence, and self-worth. So give it a try and see just how much more saying less can do for you. I look forward to talking to you next time, and thank you so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe for more videos about embracing your feminine energy and living the life of your dreams. Stay aligned.